Welcome to episode 23 of the Young Adult's Guide to Planet Earth, the podcast where we try to figure out life through good conversation. I'm your host, Clayton Hamrick, and joining me as always is Sid Warren. Hey, Sid.
Hey, Clayton. How you doing?
That was good, dude. I
Yeah,
like
thanks,
that.
man. I got good energy today. Had a cup of coffee. I'm ready to go.
And then we have Hunter Baumgartner. Hey, Hunter, what's up, dude?
How you doing? Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good intro. I'm glad we got there.
Awesome.
We still have to make a comment about it because that's just part of the intro now.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Started strong. Got a little weak towards the end, but overall.
Yeah, kind of tapered off.
Overall, if you average it out, I think it's better than usual, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
This week we're gonna be talking about note taking. Good
So
note taking.
exciting, man.
I'm freaking pumped about note taking, dude. How do you take notes? Why do you take notes? Best practices. Some apps we might use. Freaking note taking, dude.
So I definitely don't use as much note taking as I used to. Like not sitting in class and
Yeah.
whatnot, you know. But like I do every day, you know, write down my schedule, and usually I will write a little note. Like I won't just say like fix car. I'll say like get oil change. You know, like, there's a little
Fix
more
car.
detail. So technically, like that's a note, right?
Yeah. Before we get into it, we have the quote of the week because we have a quote of the week every week. So why wouldn't we have it today? So this quote comes from Ryder Carroll. Don't know who that is, but he's a guy who said a thing. The more content you try to capture during a lecture or a meeting, the less you're thinking about what's being said. You burn through most of your attention parroting the source.
So this is kind of anti-note taking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our audience, who's ever listening, is already seeing two sides of this argument.
Yeah. This guy's saying don't take notes. I don't think he's saying don't take notes because his last little thing about parroting the source, he's saying don't write down exactly what's being said.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people do, like, especially during PowerPoint presentations, they'll just write the exact bullet points that's on the PowerPoint, which I always thought was ridiculous.
Here's what I like. The thing is, you can pull up the PowerPoint on your computer, you pull up edit, and then you can actually like write down what they say about the PowerPoint in the little note taking
Yeah,
for
like,
the PowerPoint.
yeah,
that
that's
way
the
you
whole
don't
thing.
have to-
Most of these teachers, like, provide their PowerPoints.
Yeah.
So why would you just write down what their PowerPoints say if they literally provide it to you?
I had teachers like that, and they had their PowerPoints, and they expected us to take notes if we weren't doing it. Like, and this is in college, which seems a little elementary to me, but like, and then they would just release the PowerPoints, and I always took notes because if I'm not writing it down, I usually won't remember it. That's just how I am. But I was like, for most people, I feel like there's no point for them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
My last semester, I didn't take any notes. I literally just
I didn't
listened the
either,
whole
and I think
time.
that's a result of me not ever learning any good note taking like habits or what's the word I'm looking for? Strategies, I guess.
Yeah.
Methods,
Yeah.
note taking methods. I would just do my own thing, just write. But there's like actual methods that people use that help them organize their thoughts and everything.
Yeah. When I would go back through my notes to study, like, a lot of times it would help me, but it only really helps with, like, definition-heavy stuff, for me anyway. And, like, a lot of the time when I did that, I feel like that's when those are the kind of classes that were just lecture-y, fact-based stuff that I just have to regurgitate. And that's the kind
Yeah.
of learning I hate because
Yeah.
it's not hands-on. I'm not actually, like, learning a skill. I'm just memorizing facts. And I think note-taking gets a lot more difficult when it's not just facts. You have to, like, understand concepts. And that's where I feel like people kind of take on their own, like, unique way of note-taking. Like, they write down what's important to them, what really strikes them, you know. And that's the thing I feel about note-taking is that it really has to be custom-tailored. I remember in, like, middle school, they forced us to take notes this specific way with, like, definitions on the left, phrases on the right, phrases on the left, definitions on the right. And, like, that doesn't seem like that works for, you know, memorizing terms, but it doesn't help with, like, when I got into college and classes weren't just, you know, spelling bees, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever find yourself taking notes, like, in everyday life?
No.
I have my planner, so yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I do.
I take notes at work a lot. But I think, for me, the only time I take notes is when I'm in, like, a learning mode.
Yeah.
Like, at school, I was in, like, a learning mode when I was in a class setting. So I'd always have my notes to my side and my pencil ready. And then when I'm at work, when I'm learning something new, I just have it ready to write down. But
I think
honestly, I just want to finish up with saying, honestly, the thing that helps me learn is just writing it in the first place. Like, not even looking back. Like, for me, if I wrote a number down 10, 15 times, I would remember that a lot better than if I looked at a number 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
Versus like saying it out loud or anything else. Like, it's something to form like with it when you write something down a number of times.
Yeah, I mean, there's been research and studies done that say that physically writing something cements it in your brain better than typing it, better than, you know, I know a lot of people that would record lectures and listen back to them. Yeah. And it's been scientifically proven that those things are less effective than actually writing things. I found that every time I read anything, no matter what book it is, I'm kind of in a note-taking mode. And I think this came from like 6th grade. We learned how to take, I can't remember what type of notes she called them, but we would basically have to read the chapter, and we had to do like 2 sticky notes per chapter and write a little note on the sticky note and put it on the page of the book. And I find myself doing that even to this day, where I'll be reading a book and I'll highlight and underline and take notes.
When I read the Bible, I don't do this so much anymore because sometimes it's hard to have good habits stick. But there was a time when I would just use a highlighter, and my like retention of what I read went up like literally like 500%.
Yeah.
As opposed to like me, a lot of times when I read, I get through a page and I'm like, what did I just read again?
Yeah. I have to find a balance with that, because sometimes you'll just highlight things because they're worded good and you want to remember them, or you want to be able to flip back to them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're just highlighting it. Like, that's not, I guess it's kind of note-taking, because you're reminding yourself of what you want to go back and read. But
it's not even about going back for me. It's just about in the moment, like having that, like, instead of just it being visual, it also becomes like tangible. Like, something about that just connects my brain a little more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that considered note-taking? Like highlighting?
I personally think not necessarily. I would try to excuse myself sometimes, like, yeah, I'm taking notes, but I think if you're gonna highlight something, you need to like put a sticky note on the page or write out in the margins, like, why did you highlight that? Because highlighting it is saying, this stuck out to me, I thought this was interesting, but like, you need to write a little one sentence thing of like, why was that interesting? And I think that's gonna help in the long run much more than just highlighting it.
Yeah.
Because I think note taking is you writing your own thoughts. That's why even when you're reading a PowerPoint of an instructor and you're just copying it word for word, I don't think that's really note taking. That's just literally, it's like plagiarism. Yeah. You're not creating your own thoughts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's how we learn, is create our own thoughts.
Yeah.
We don't learn by like, unless it was like you're saying, like, just the regurgitated, like, dates and stuff.
Well, I think like nowadays my notes have become more like my own thoughts. But I remember like the last semester in college, I had a class where, you know, we met with the teacher like 3 times, and then after that, our class time was spent working on a project, and we didn't have lectures or anything. She didn't teach us or anything. And had I not taken notes at the beginning, or had somebody in my group not taken notes, we would have been left in the dust, not know what to do at all. So I think in the real world, note-taking is maybe less prevalent, but it's a lot more important. Like, if you have, your boss tell you to do something and you forget about it, and you do that a couple times, like, you're going to be in big trouble. But if you write that down, like, in a planner or on your phone, type it in notes, that's just a little observation.
I think we should invent something that's like a freaking, like those like things that you put on your elbows and your knee pads, like something like that, that's latex, like, or spandex or whatever you can put on your arm, and then
like what a quarterback uses.
Yeah, but like, instead of it being paper, it should be like electronic, and then you just swipe it and like
a tablet on your arm.
Yes, that is what we need.
Well, you have a watch.
Well,
electronic watch on your arm.
Right when watches, like, smartwatches were coming out, there was all this concept of art of like a full wrist or full arm.
That's what I want. I don't like this whole like small screen. I mean, I like the watch, but honestly, the only reason I like this the best is I can switch the faces on the watch, and also it tells you my heart rate, and I can call like Star Trek and be like, "Beam me up, Scotty." But like, That's about it.
I need to get a smartwatch because the number one note app and thing I do is just I go to Google Notes and I'll type 4 words and that'll just remind me to do something. And if I had a watch that I could do that on, I think that'd be really helpful.
Well, this has. Let me see if it has.
I would like to find a digital equivalent to just having a planner, but it's
It-
hard for me to replace
For me, like I a lot of times I'll keep a little small notebook in my back pocket and pull it out and write things down. And for some reason that just works better for me than writing a digital
that.
note.
Same here. Yeah.
So
for
at
sure.
work, like you were talking about forgetting what your boss says, my desk is like always littered with sticky notes because every time I have to remind myself to do something, I'll write a sticky note and put it
Nice.
on my desk. And
Yeah.
and I wish I could do it digitally, but I just something about it I can't.
Yeah.
I have to do it physically.
I think when I look at my devices, I don't see like a note-taking device. I see an entertainment device most of the time.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe why. Like, if when I look at this, it doesn't remind me of my notes. It reminds me of, oh, what's on YouTube right now.
I've always wanted to have 2 phones,
Yeah.
like a work phone and and like a regular phone, because then, like I could just put the regular phone in the drawer for the day and
Yep.
just have my work phone where all I do is make work calls, texts, and like have productivity app type stuff on there.
You know, I should do that except like with my tablet. Like,
Yeah.
only use this for work. But see, then it's like so convenient to be sitting at like I'm not going to say stoplight because I do not definitely use my phone in traffic. But like, I don't know, at a doctor's office, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like you have the internet in your hand. Like, how do you not?
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
Not the internet. The entire knowledge of the whole world at your fingertips.
Which is the internet.
Yeah.
You gotta make it more cooler than that.
So let's get back to note taking a little bit because I could talk about technology and whatever. But were there any specific note taking methods or types of note taking that you kind of
Yep.
grasped and
So-
used?
I used a very logical thing that I was never really taught. I just like tiered it. And I talked to Erica today and she does the same thing. So except she would put a star next to the main topic and then under that, you know, she would write a subtopic and then like bullet points under that. And what I would do is like I would have my main topic and usually maybe like a bullet point beside to the left of the red line. And then under that, like I would have like a dash. And then I would like the next I would do a square. And then
Yeah.
if there was like sub, I would do like a triangle. I would try to always make the symbol different.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. And from what I've read in my preliminary research for this cast, people call that the outline method,
Oh, okay.
which makes a lot of sense because I think if I was writing a paper outline or a book outline, that's kind of how I would structure it, where you have your main heading and then bullet points down past that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tree,
Mhm.
or I don't know, kind of.
I just had like a really solid idea, and I wish I was still in school so I could try it. But a problem I always had was I would do my what did you call it? The outline.
Mm-hmm.
I would do the outline, and then the teacher would like touch back on something, and I wouldn't
Yeah,
have
and you
space
have to
to
like
write
go
it.
back and.
So what if you like just took down your paper and did like 8 squares, and then like each topic she touched, just writing that, like that would be super useful.
Well, that's
for me.
another one called the box method,
Oh wow.
where you draw a box per mini topic. So
Yeah.
you've got your main topic, and you draw boxes for every mini topic.
So
and-
if I was back in school, I would totally use the box.
Yeah.
Well, if we were back in school, this is how it exactly I would tell you how to do it. If you have a book that comes with your whole like class, I would literally just open the book right where you start in class and have the book to your left and your note taken to your right, or vice versa if you're left-handed. And as she's going through it, read it, and if she says something that's like out of context with the book, write that down. But like honestly, like most teachers just go through the book. They don't really write. I mean, you
That's
write
true.
notes down, but then you realize like later on, like they just read the book for us in
Yeah.
front of
Yeah.
us, and you go home and you use the book again. You read, and she's like, "Go read the chapters like tonight." Like you literally just read it for us.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is like when you read something, you learn it better. But yeah, if school.
I think that's true, but I think they just give an overview of the chapter. Like you'll be
Yeah,
reading through
well,
the chapter and you're like, oh, I remember she talked about all this. But I think what's important about that is the things that she said and that she picked out of the book is what you're supposed to
Yeah,
remember.
that's
and
what I was
so
getting
that's what
to.
you're supposed to write down.
But yeah, you definitely need to read the book. But if outside school, note taking wise, it should only be like you shouldn't have to take but like maybe a sentence for notes. Not even a sentence, like 4-word notes.
Well, I mean, so another application of note taking going past college and whatever. It could be in a meeting you're in at work
Yeah.
where, and I've run into this some where I don't have a super important position right now at my job, but I've sat in on meetings and have just kind of it's like these people are talking about difficult things, and unless I'm sitting there taking notes, there's no way I would remember specifically what the objectives were and what even needed to be done. And so going forward, like, note taking is going to be much more important than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, I have a feeling I'm going to take more notes going forward in life than I even did in college,
Probably.
because it's actually more important now.
I have a great like example of why note taking is so important. Because I was at Taco Bell one day, and their thing was down, so she had to take it at the to-go window, and she just listened to me and then walked over there and took it. She didn't write it down or anything. She got my order completely wrong. I mean, I'm being a little sarcastic, but
It's
but I
funny.
mean, there's note taking everywhere. Like, that's what they're doing on their little kiosk. They're taking notes of
Yeah.
our order and then sending it to the cooks.
But it's funny you
Yeah.
say that, because I remember, like, yeah, like, a lot of waitresses now don't write stuff down. Like,
I
they
was a
used
waiter and
to.
I always did. I
Yeah,
can't remember anything.
Like, they used to, like, especially at old diners, they do. And, like, really fancy restaurants, they do. But other than that, like, they don't take notes anymore.
I think most do, man. I mean,
Well,
I've
mental
seen
notes.
like 2 do it.
Well,
Two,
yeah.
I mean, when I say do it, I mean like they didn't take notes. They were just like, and it made me uncomfortable a little bit. I'm like, are you sure you got this?
So I think there's 2 different types of note taking we're talking about here. One type of note taking is you're taking notes in order to advance your learning, and another is you're taking notes in order to remember things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's 2 totally different things. Like, the one that's advanced your learning, like, a big thing to do during note taking is write down questions. If you have a question during a lecture or during a meeting, write that question down. And then because notes, you're supposed to go back and study them. You don't just write them to write them. You're supposed to go back and look at them. So then when you're going back and reading through your notes and you come across that question, then you can go do your research and answer that question. And so that's helping you learn. A lot of learning is questioning. But when you're just having to write down things to remember them, yeah, I mean, that's still note taking, but it's a lot easier of a concept, because it's not hard to, like, if you order a chalupa and a hard taco, I don't have to think critically of, like, how am I going to write that down to remember it perfectly? It's like, no, you just freaking write the thing.
Yeah.
But if you're being taught something, you both need to write, like, the literal thing and then write a conceptual thing that'll help you learn.
Yeah.
So I remember another note-taking method that I remember this being taught in high school, and I hated it because they would make us use it, is the Cornell method,
Yeah.
where it's like you divide your piece of paper up into, like, 4 sections. You got, like, your title, and then you divide it, like, and you got 1/3 of the paper and 2/3 of the paper, and on this side you put all your questions and all the, like, main keywords, and then in your bigger section you actually write your main bullet point notes, and then
Yeah, I remember that.
and at the very end of the lecture or lesson in school, you go to the bottom section that you've written out, and it's a summary. So you try to, like, think back over the lecture, think back over your notes, and just write a couple paragraph or a couple sentences of summary, which really is supposed to hammer it into your brain.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I hated it when I was taught this way, and I still don't like this way of note taking. But the whole summary aspect of it is really important, I think.
Yeah, I think the summary is like, if I remember right, it was difficult to summarize because if you're just doing definitions, like, how do you summarize definitions without rewriting them? But, like, in real life, like, when you get into, like, the workforce, you can summarize things easier.
Well, I mean, I remember this being decent in history and English because over the course of a whole history lesson, I mean, history is a narrative.
Yeah.
Telling a story. So being able to like, write a 4-sentence summary of whatever you're learning about that day really helps to hammer down, like, the main concepts. Now, when it comes to, like, remembering the dates and remembering specific things, that's where you got to just study back over your notes and figure that stuff out. But the summary really allows you to understand the conceptual lesson they were trying to get across.
Yeah. I wish I would have used that in college because when you have like 10 or even more pages of notes, it gets a little overwhelming. But
Yeah.
having that summary
Like,
would have been really
and
useful.
like if you go back 4 days later and read that summary, that should be able to give you the number one main things you need to remember from that lesson.
Even, I guess, good note taking comes down to organization too, because a lot of times I would need a specific page, and it would take me like 10 minutes to find it, because sometimes
Yeah.
didn't write a title, or the title was small or something. So, keeping your notes in a place where they're easily accessible, that's why the planner is perfect for me, because it's organized by day.
Yeah.
So like if I'm like, oh, I remember that thing happened 2 weeks ago and I saw something cool and I wanted to remember it, I just flip back. I know it's in the past.
You guys know anything about bullet journaling?
No.
So it's a huge like thing online at this point. There's subreddits about it and big communities about it, and it's just a way of journaling that it kind of goes towards that way of thinking of your cataloging things, and you create a table of content so you can always know where your stuff is. So if you buy an actual bullet journal, it has like a table of context, and this is all blank when you buy it, and you have to fill it out yourself. And usually bullet journals aren't used for note taking; they're more used for scheduling and planning and reflecting. And there's a big thing called a brain dump, where it's a page where you just, if you ever have a thought, you just dump it on that page and whatever. But I think one of the biggest pros to the whole bullet journaling thing is you are really encouraged to keep a table of context. So every new page you create in your bullet journal, you got to flip back to your index page or your table of contents page and write what is on that page.
So you reserve each page for a specific topic?
I mean, it could be a number of pages. Like if you have 4 pages in a row that are your May schedule, then in your table of contents you can just write pages 4 to 9 is my May calendar. But yeah, basically.
So there would be a section for reminders, but there'd also just be like another page where you'd have like interesting things you want to look up later. Like sometimes you'll mention to me like something like bullet journaling, and I'll just scribble at the top of the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Because I want to check it out later.
Yeah, and then it's this whole concept too, like you were talking about earlier with the outline method. You got a bullet point, and then you might have a dash, and then you might have a square or a star. You do the same thing in bullet journaling, where at the beginning of the bullet journal you create like a legend, like you would see it on a map, and describe what everything means. So you might have a box with a check mark through it. That means this task is done. Or you might have a box that's half shaded in. That means this task is in progress. And there's all these different signifiers. And bullet journaling is called that because it's supposed to be fast-paced. Like you're supposed to be able to pick up your bullet journal, jot down a quick note, or jot down a quick daily schedule, and have these small, like, things that speed up the process. Small little symbols. I mean, like I remember when I did it, and I don't have a good habit about it, but I used to do it some. If I wanted to learn more about something, I would write like 2 words, and I would write a question mark beside it, and the question mark meant go look this up later.
Yeah.
Or a star would mean this is like important. You need to get on this real quick. And
the thing that doesn't make sense to me about this is like I feel like I would need an entire bullet journal for like my daily schedule.
Yeah.
So how do you reserve that to like a certain number of pages?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. That's one of the reasons that I stopped doing it. Was it was almost stressful to like, how many pages do I need for it? Because like you'll if you go on the bullet journal subreddit, you got these people making these beautiful like graphs, and
wow,
they call them cover pages. So like each month people will like, here's my May cover page, and they'll like draw a pretty picture and like draw their calendar out. And it's like, I'm afraid to make a mistake because this is supposed to be like this beautiful thing, but
yeah,
I don't know. I that's why I stopped doing it, is because I wasn't as much bullet journaling as I was just regular journaling.
Yeah.
And it was just all sloppy and not a lot of structure to it.
Mm.
But I guess, I mean, getting good at bullet journaling, I guess that teaches you some structure, and it teaches you how to be more consistent with your note taking and journaling and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, how is that like fit into the whole note stratosphere?
I think the big thing is what we're talking about with summaries. It's like another thing with bullet journaling. A lot of people will have a little section, like if you do a daily schedule, the very bottom of the page will be like reflection. Just like write a little couple sentences reflecting on your day. And in the same vein, you should be writing summaries of what you're learning.
Yeah.
And just having that moment of reflection, whether it be at the end of your day or at the end of a lecture, really help you lock it in.
Yeah.
And like section it off from the rest of your life almost.
I really like the concept of journaling, like writing about your day, like venting a little bit. Even in a good way. It doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be negative venting.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
even journaling, I think helps note taking.
Yeah.
Because if you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm gonna write one journal entry per day, that and so it's a summary of your whole day, and you write about, oh, I went to class this morning, I did this, I did that, we learned about this. Like, that's another thing that's gonna lock whatever you learned in that day, like lock it in.
Yeah. But I like thinking about journaling as note taking, because you're basically taking notes on your emotions
Yeah.
and on what, like, where your life is right now, and so you can remember in the future where you were, how you were, and learn from that.
Definitely.
You know, like we spend so much time taking notes for like classes, but like how much more important is our personal life, our mental health, and our relationships, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
to look at a journal and like see my courtship with Erica, you
Yeah.
know? But I don't really have that because I
Man,
haven't taken the time.
I've got sappy journal entries and from back in like
Yeah.
high school and early
Sappy.
college days where I'm just talking about. I have this really long journal entry about Mackenzie where we were broken up, and I had this whole thing. I was gonna like tear it out of my notebook and send it to her in the mail, begging for her back or whatever.
Yeah.
But just things like that, like looking on that now, for me, strengthens our relationship.
Mm.
And I like to think about. I like what you said. Like,
Good thing you didn't send it to her.
well, I told her later. I mean,
Yeah, but
I think if I would have sent it to her, man, we would have been together sooner.
or maybe she wouldn't
I'm
have
a
took you
poet.
back.
I'm a poet, dude. I know how to write
Well,
some words.
We'll attach a copy of that letter.
Alright.
Yeah.
Just put a picture of it, like.
See, I'm not really bashful about that type of stuff. I don't really care. But not that I'm gonna do that. But
yeah, no, we're not really doing it.
No.
But yeah, like learning how to reflect on life experience, on your emotions, is really important. And I like how you said note taking for life, because being able to look back at that type of stuff in 10 years, it's gonna be like, holy crap, how far I've come, how much have I learned in life.
And it sets you up for a future too. I mean, knowing yourself. I mean, when the opportunity comes along, you're going to be more willing to jump on that because you're more secure in yourself. And I don't know. I think like we've talked about this before, but investing in yourself, getting to be a stronger person, it's just like down the road is going to make such a huge difference
Yeah.
about who you become.
Yeah, I think with that said, I think everyone should pick up a note-taking method, go find one that works for you, and run with it. Like, learn it, make it a system in your life. Kind of like bullet journaling. Like, pick up a little journal, figure out how to. I guess I'm talking more about journaling, but just note down things throughout your day. And then once if you're in school, which I know some people listen to this are, use those same practices with in your classes. And
Yeah.
because the more, like, if you're just using this note-taking system for class, it doesn't seem that important in the moment. But if, like, you're using that note-taking system in all facets of your life, then it kind of becomes part of your system and part of who you are in a way.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know. I love little things like that too, because it just helps me stay grounded every day. Like, little routines are just nice. I don't know. And I like too that, journaling, like, I've always pressured myself to journal. I've never been successful with it, but that's because I always felt like I had to fill a page or even
Mhm.
two. But like the concept of bullet journaling, or even your own thing where maybe just take like 2 lines every day in a notebook
Yeah.
and just write about your day. Like,
Well, I
what
mean,
does that take? 30 seconds?
I had journal entries that was like, I had a really terrible day today. Like, I was late to class, period.
Yeah.
And it's like, then there's a journal, an entry 2 days later that's actually long and drawn out. And it's funny to see, like, oh, 2 days ago I was having a terrible day, but
Yep.
then 2 days later I was having a great day. And it kind of brings you into perspective. Because then that next day you're having a terrible day, you're like, well, look at this journal entry. Like, that lasted, what, 5 hours, and then
Yeah.
I was good
Dude.
again.
That's a good lesson in that.
That's what I want to talk about. Is like get into is like when you journal, you figure out who you are faster than you could anything else. Like when it comes to like seeing yourself outside of yourself, it's really hard to do that unless you talk to other people and how they view you. But even then, it's bad because if the other people view you as bad and they have these other judgments on you, then they can give you the wrong impression of yourself and lead you down a road that's bad for you. But anyways, the point is, journaling could grow you like no other, and it's so cool.
Just start a podcast.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, if we go back and listen to the first couple episodes of this podcast, it gives us a lot of perspective on how we're doing today and where the podcast is going and everything. And I'm a huge proponent of that. I mean, I've been saying that since I started my YouTube channel for this class. Like, being able to be introspective on something you've created helps you grow in a weird way. It's like you're standing outside of yourself, watching yourself live your life.
Yeah, we need to be doing that.
It gives you a really weird perspective on who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to go back and listen to our first episode because, you know, I think we'd be kind of pleased to see how we've kind of progressed.
Yeah.
It's even cooler. Like I was looking at some old GoPro videos. You remember when you jumped off that waterfall?
Yeah.
Well, like when you watch it versus like when we talk about it, and versus when you watch it, it's like when you watch it, your brain like opens up all the memories from it. But when you like hear something, like hear the sound you made, like when you, I don't know, GoProing to me is like my way of journaling.
Yeah, it's like video
journaling. Like my best, like coolest, funnest times.
At one point, I tried to do an audio journal where instead of sitting down and writing in a notebook every night, I would sit down and record myself talking into a mic for 10 minutes.
I like that better. See, I like that better because I can speak faster than I can write.
I think the con is you can't just look at a page and find something. Like, if you can't, you have to listen to the whole thing in order to remember.
Yeah, it's a little bit trickier to navigate.
But, I mean, I think it's cool, all these people who are YouTube vloggers who they get to look back. If they've been doing it for 5 years, they can look back who they were 5 years ago. And it's like it allows you to take your entire life experience within those 5 years and like consolidate it. Whereas I forgot what the heck I was doing 5 years. I forget like what was I doing 5 years ago,
or even
like,
a week ago.
And how does that define me as who I am?
Yeah,
that's like Instagram too, though. Like the first Instagram picture I have is of you eating fries.
Yeah,
and I
that was
like,
back in high
I
school.
remember that day.
Yeah,
I remember that day. I remember everything where we're eating everything because I took a picture of it and posted it on my Instagram, and it's still there to this day. And you can look at that picture, and you're taken back to that moment.
Yeah.
Well, see, so I remember my first Facebook picture. It might have been Instagram. I don't know. I've deleted it since then because it's terrible. I was wearing like an American Eagle graphic tee. I had braces, and I tried to do this cool shaggy thing with my hair to look like Nick Jonas or something.
Yeah.
And I was sticking my tongue out, like making this really stupid face. And when I think back on that, it's like, I don't cringe at it. Like, I knew who I was. I was this middle school kid trying to be funny, trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And that really has defined who I am today. And
yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's how all social media is.
But I think a lot of people look back on their old stuff and they cringe. They're like, oh, why did I? I mean, and I do to a certain extent, but also just take a step back and realize, like, that picture you see from when you were in 6th grade, that's not you anymore. You're a different person now, but you also need to say, like, how did that get me to where I am today?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing about social media, and that makes me want to, like, start posting more on social media.
Same here. Yeah. Because I post, like, once every quarter or every half of year.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, when I was doing that social media project, I was having to post an Instagram post once a week, and for me, it's, like, hard to, what do I even post?
Yeah.
And it also makes you want to live a more interesting life.
Yeah.
Because you're like, not because you're trying to impress people, but you're trying to impress yourself. Like, I want to do something cool so I can post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're like trying to, I think a lot of guys actually do that though. Like they don't post much because they don't have anything interesting going on, and you don't get a lot of likes based on your looks. but girls is the opposite. Like
You
girls,
might not, but
oh,
I
whatever,
do.
whatever, man. If I wanted to get likes, I know exactly what I'd be doing, but I'm not gonna do that.
What?
But-
Shirtless.
Yeah, shirtless on a boat. Listen, it's literally the easiest thing. All you gotta do is dress up with a nice watch, put some Tommy Bahamas on, and put some nice shoes on. Sit on a boat,
Here,
have a
dude,
cigar in your
no,
mouth, and
a
have
cigar that makes you
just
cool.
let me finish. Have a cigar in your mouth, put some glasses on, and put a captain hat on, and you have an
Captain
abs.
hat? Dude, here's what we need to do.
And then
We
boom,
all
you
need to
get
take an identical
million
picture
likes.
like this and see who gets the most likes.
Well, that's gonna depend on how many followers we have.
Well, first of all, I can't win that because I know no homo.
We'll get a
but I
third.
don't have abs.
We'll get a
I
third
don't have
party. We'll get a third party to post it, each one of our pictures individually to their account. So it doesn't matter how many followers we have.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know how I feel about taking that picture though.
Not that exact picture, but I'm
Okay.
saying just
I
something
need
like
to
that
shape
in
up a little
general.
bit.
Well, the most popular picture
Not-
I have on my Instagram is of Erica. So like, I post all these pictures of me, and then it's like I post Erica, and it's like 50 million. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
we're
what is
sitting here
that,
like,
though?
why are we sitting here competing about likes? 'Cause I
don't
don't
know.
care at
I-
all.
no, me either.
Dude, what is that though? Like when guys post pictures of their girlfriends and then they have their girlfriends on their like page
What do you
or
mean?
whatever.
What is it? Are you about to ask why they get more likes?
because they're prettier than us.
No. And then girls, they don't have like. Well, I don't know. Anyways, my point was, why do we just get more likes if the girl is in the picture? Like, is it just because all the girls are on Instagram or all the guys are on Instagram liking all the girls?
Well, I'm much more likely to like a picture of a girl than I am to like a picture of a guy. Just like,
Yeah.
but girls,
Are liking
Like-
other girls
they like pictures
More.
of anything.
or anything? Yeah.
All girls I know, well, actually, I don't really know many girls.
There you go. There you go.
Well, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't interact with a lot of girls on a regular basis, but Mackenzie. Okay, a lot of girls I've seen, they'll just scroll Instagram and they'll double tap everything. It's
Yeah.
like
Yes.
it's so annoying.
And I'm just like, why are you on Instagram if all you're gonna do is do that? Like, you're not even looking at the picture, just looking at it, like you're liking.
But guys don't.
things-
I feel like less guys do that.
Oh, I'm
and-
all about like staring at the photo for about 10 seconds, taking it in. I'm like,
But
okay, so this
but
guy's
the
got a nice
but a
tractor in the
normal
back,
guy,
horses
if
in
he
the
just
back.
sees a girl, he double taps it, right?
Yeah, normal guy.
Just in general.
Just seeing like boobies
I mean, I don't.
But-
I'm not saying I do that because I don't scroll
like
Instagram
blonde hair.
ever.
like that's means like to me. Okay, but like girls, it's like you just keep going.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know why.
What does this have to do with note taking?
Because we got
If you're a girl, tell us why you do that in the comments.
This
Please.
is this is
Please.
life note taking.
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Instagram is a form
I was
of
gonna say,
note-taking.
I'm glad we've had this conversation because it's really opened my eyes up to, like, the implications of note taking. Like, you're in school and like everything's stupid to you, but then you realize, oh, my teachers actually had a purpose for the things they taught me, and so we're kind of seeing like how note taking is so important in our lives, from like literally our food to our emotional health through journaling to like making sure we don't like miss our doctor's appointment and die, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's everywhere in our
That's
lives.
morbid.
Yeah, I mean, and
I
Just
have
trying to
a-
go from
I-
extreme to extreme.
and
I
you know
have
the reason we got on that tangent was
liver
because of
failure.
journaling. The reason we got on that tangent was because we started talking about journaling, and I mean, I think we can talk about that more about just how that's note taking of life, and then we got on to the whole social media thing. But
I think all of it's social.
You know,
or
we-
all of it, it's like life.
we talked about social
Note-taking.
media a long time ago when we were talking about the pros and cons, and I don't think we brought up in that episode how it's a pro that this is like
A time
uh,
capsule.
Yeah, a time capsule almost. We maybe did get it. I mean, that was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
Ooh,
I would like
speaking of-
have something to show my kids. Like, this is what we were like. This is me and Erica while we were dating.
But think about that. That's gonna blow your mind, right? Because when you were little, imagine you've seen your parents like at 15, not in black and white photos,
Yeah,
but like
right.
your parents did not take black and white photos when they were
Dude,
15.
it's
There were color
more
photos
like-
back then.
it's more like looking like Vietnam photos, where it's like kind of like looks like somebody poured like water paint on the picture.
You're
and
just
it's,
acting like your
filled
parents
it
were
in.
born in 1852.
They
or
were.
something.
I'm just saying, like, you go back and you look at pictures from the 70s. It looks like somebody literally put a black and white photo down and somebody threw.
They're not high
color on
definition pictures.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
I'm
some of the
saying.
best
Yeah.
some of the best photos were taken in the 70s and 80s. From an artistic photography standpoint,
Yeah,
there was some
yeah.
good style going on back then.
But yeah,
But anyways, no
But
taking.
see, I have like a timeline in my photos. I'm thinking about like getting a huge drive and just like clearing my phone out maybe once a year. And I don't need to post that on social media to have it. I mean, like if I scroll through here, I've got like a 6 month.
Just get a 1
Time
terabyte
shot.
flash or whatever you call it.
I'd have to get like 10 terabytes. They're gonna have to start selling life drives like 100 terabytes because
Yeah.
I mean I'm starting to realize how much data I use, and I'm just like one little person that doesn't really do that much.
Dude, think about that.
So I don't
How
know.
much data is actually being used?
Like here, like 2 weeks ago, I made egg and toast with like that's
Wait,
important
how
to me
how do you know that?
because I took a picture of it.
No.
Look at that breakfast, man. I mean, I sent it to Erica because I was
You
proud
should
of it.
Most of the
definitely-
pictures on my phone have to do with work. Like I took a video of a server today because I had to
Yeah,
remember what it said on it. Like that's
I have
all my
lots of
freaking
magic cards in here.
That's like all my camera feed is
Yeah.
I'll take pictures of service tags at work or something.
I only take pictures if it invokes an emotional
I'm
response.
about to get a look at my photos and let's.
So
Just
mine
get
is
into it.
Magic, The Gathering, and Erica, and then miscellaneous.
Hold on,
Like that's
let me-
it.
Let me look at mine.
Where's my?
It's really fun though.
I don't
just
even know
go
where my
through it.
photos app is.
So I became more aware of this recently because I was up north visiting family and there's no service or Wi-Fi there, and so like I habitually on my phone, so I would get on here and realize there's nothing, and then the only interesting thing was getting in my photos, and so like I kind of went through them all in that time.
The last like interesting life thing, I took a picture when I was at the Star Wars concert. That's
Oh,
good.
nice.
Yeah, that's a good thing to remind me. Like, oh, that
Yeah,
was a
that's-
cool night.
My last picture.
It's awesome.
And I've
is-
got like engagement photos on here.
Oh yes.
I,
Mine
got-
is.
I took a picture of my first win on Apex Legends.
Yes, me. I was literally about to say that. I was wanting to wait for the moment, but I was gonna say that. I literally have it pulled up. It's just like, well, that's not my first win, but like that's my like 15th.
When I took that picture, I was like, I'm taking this because I want to be able to show my friends that I did
exactly,
this.
and then you never show your
But
friends.
then I never showed. I was like,
Yep.
they don't care that I won.
That game's difficult, by the way. I played like 3 games because I got into Overwatch and Apex at the same time,
Yeah.
and I just said screw Apex. Overwatch is funner because it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
easier.
I think so. Dude, I don't even have to scroll very far down until I get to July 20th, 2016.
Really? You don't take a lot of
I
pictures
was in
then.
Puerto Rico.
I take a lot more pictures than
I look
that.
at the exact same.
Dude, I remember though. You used to be a picture fiend. Like you would be picture taking. Like when we were at Puerto Rico, you were taking good pictures. Yeah, I remember that. I was the one that took that picture.
Yeah, I know.
We were taking pictures like crazy.
Because I've always been into the artsy stuff like that. You don't see these, dude?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one you should post.
I think I was. Never mind. Me and my roommate at NC State used to take pictures of each other as progress photos because
Oh, okay. I'll figure that out.
we would take progress photos because we were like trying to be gym junkies. Like, yeah, we're gonna get big, dude. We'd take a picture of me, and I'm gonna compare it to a picture of me next week, and let's see how much bigger I get, dude.
So did you like text each other and say, "Hey, bro, send me a pic"? Like,
No,
And then afterwards, you kind of got closer and closer to each other.
and then before you know it, you're just like not even working out anymore.
That's
You're just
actually-
asking for a picture of him.
that's actually when I left NC State.
It just got really out of hand.
Uh,
He started getting jealous that you were sending pictures to other people. He was like, "No, but I want your picture."
I've never sent these
I wanna
pictures to
judge.
anybody.
Why are we creating
I
this
don't know.
imaginary scenario?
Because it's
It's
funny.
fun, yeah.
I just love doing that.
Yeah.
I love like, what do you call that? Like, when you take a joke and you just keep going with it.
Why do you need to call it anything, man?
I don't know. It's
It's
like
just-
running with the joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
running
with it.
Running. I'm playing football with this thing.
I like
Man.
how we're on the whole note taking thing.
Well, this is just the theme now. We like start
Talk about the thing for about 20, 30 minutes, and then
yeah
it goes
Well, just-
downhill.
Always because like the focus
or
is,
uphill.
It's hard to stay
Yeah.
focused on one thing for a long
We
time.
do get more energetic and lively the less on
that's
topic
true.
we are.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure if we had the audio spectrum in front of us, it'd be like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I was dead at the first.
Dude, I'm dead too, man. We can talk about that for a second, because school sucks. It's just draining my life force out of me, and I don't know if I'm gonna last another week.
You have 10
Dude.
days, man.
Yeah.
I literally
10
graduate in 9 days, and it feels like 2 months away.
Just get a lot of sleep. 'Cause
That's not gonna be able to happen.
Sleep is like the number one thing I feel like that. For me, it doesn't really affect my logical thinking. It affects my emotional thinking. Like, you ever heard of the story of the horse and the rider? No.
Not.
Like the
I was gonna be
horse,
silent until you just told it.
the horse is the emotional part of you, and the rider is the logical thinking part. But when it comes to note taking and testing and all that stuff, it really doesn't matter because you're not really using emotions at all. You're just thinking of the logics. But when it comes to sleep, it also gives you like a 5% better chance than, like, if you get up to 7 or more hours of sleep, you have 5% better chance of making a better grade than you would if you had like
Well, I'm
6.
definitely gonna get enough sleep the night before my exam. But up until then, I've just
you
got
need
so
to
much
get
work
like
to
at
do.
least 2 days prior, because the day before
Well, here's
is
what's
always
here's
affecting
what's
you.
probably gonna happen. I'm probably gonna pull an all-nighter
Yep.
later this week, just to get a bunch of work done, and then the night before the exam, go to bed at like 1 a.m. and wake up at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna forfeit that part of the mental capabilities and just
It's what I did
try
in
to
college.
regurgitate information.
I literally would not go to sleep, study all night, go take the test, make a 70
a
or
decent
80
enough grade, yeah.
passing grade, and then like crash, and for 2 days I just sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan. After I'm done with school, I'm gonna sleep for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was an interesting thing you brought up about how when you're studying and note taking and all that, it's mostly your logical side of the brain. I think that's one of my problems is I bring a lot of emotions into it. Like when I look at how much work I have to do in a certain class, it upsets me on an emotional level. And
Well, you're not alone in that.
oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though I think more than you think, emotions really play into your learning and how you study and all that kind of stuff.
Think about it this way: if your emotions are on peak, and then you look at something like something happening to you, like logically, like in class, I remember when my emotions were super high because we were talking about like history, and we were talking about a war, and we were talking this and that. I remember that stuff, but I don't remember the mundane stuff like what year it was or what it was. I just remember him, what's his name, Mr. Gardner,
Oh,
reacting it out. Like I remember that because it was so emotionally charged.
he was an incredible teacher. He would like yell at you and make you feel a visceral emotion about a thing. That's what, dude. I think that's why I like history is because every history teacher,
It's
not
passionate.
yeah, they're just like freaking love history.
Yeah.
That's how
Because
Cinefani
it's a
was too,
story,
man.
and you could like in every
Dude,
story
Cinefani made me feel that way about economics because he would get fired up about economics.
take that bat and
That's
slam it on the
He
desk.
would beat his desk with his bat. He would get so excited about things.
God damn.
And I mean, I think emotions play a huge part in learning because
Yeah.
when you're happy, you're gonna learn more. I think
It like activates.
you're not as distracted.
It's like it's powerful.
We tend to be more distracted by our dark emotions than we are our light emotions.
Yeah, and dark emotions actually cause you to remember better than they do happy emotions.
Oh gosh.
That's why a lot
So
of
you're saying
people.
we have to have a balance.
No, I'm
Why?
saying that like for people that go through a lot of pain in their life, they have a lot more memories of that pain than they would if somebody like grew up like literally having anything they wanted. Like the people that went through the pain would have like imagine if you had suffered something like when you're 5 years old, like you broke your arm and you like it was so much pain.
Yes.
But you remember that when you're like 15, 16. But honestly, I can't remember it. The only time I can remember back in elementary school, like first or second grade, is when I broke my leg. And other than that, like,
Is that why you run like
okay, wow.
with straight legs?
No. And also, I mean, and like that and awkward moments in my life when I've had like really embarrassing moments, those I remember. But like happy moments, it's hard to remember a lot of them because like if you are happy, you kind of like don't have to, it's like, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
to explain.
But how does that correlate to learning? Because I feel like if you're happy and learning, you're more
Well-
apt to remember that than if you're sad and learning.
Well, I was going to say when it comes to learning, like any emotion is good because it heightens the
Yeah.
effect of remembering it. That's what I was
But I feel
getting
like,
to.
but I feel like if you're sad, like if you go to school one day and you're sad because your puppy died, you're not gonna remember anything.
You're going to
'cause
remember
you're
that
just-
day. You're going to remember your
Yeah,
day
but
that
you're-
puppy died.
You're not gonna remember anything you learned at school because you're gonna be so distracted by your emotions.
True. Unless
if
you
you
can
come to
channel
school-
that into what you're learning.
If you come to school the day after you get a new puppy and you're like super happy you got a new puppy, I think your good mood like makes you learn better.
But see, you're still distracted by that puppy.
But I think you're less distracted by happy feelings than you are sad feelings.
True. When your significant other breaks up with you, all you can think about is that whole week or month that happened
In retrospect,
versus like when you get
I don't remember my breakups. Like, they sucked at at the time, but I don't really even remember them.
what about when
That
you
just goes-
started dating?
I'm just saying that goes to show, like, I thought I was gonna like have an emotional meltdown and die when I got broke up with, but like now I don't even remember that.
What about
Then
when
again, I'm with the girl that broke up with me all this time, so
well, yeah.
I guess that helps.
But like
bit.
when I'm trying to think of something to think back to. Like, I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, emotions.
I love when that happens where you're just like, yeah, note taking. You forgot what you're talking about, so you
Yeah.
just say a word.
Yeah. I just feel like, yeah, podcasting.
Have you guys ever heard of the mapping method of note taking?
No.
So what it seems like to me, let me read the little description of it. When the lecture content is intense, mapping method works best. It helps organize your notes by dividing them into branches, enabling you to establish relationships between the topics. It's kind of like a tree map, where you start with like the main topic and you keep branching off of that with little V's. And like how I swerved back into note taking really quickly.
Wait,
That
we
was
gotta get
smooth.
off our phones. I just
That
noticed
was not smooth.
you're smooth. Less.
So
We're getting distracted. Okay.
you're over there on your phone for the past 5 minutes, dude.
I've been engaging, man. I'm sorry. I'm taking notes.
Yeah, right.
That's a lie.
We're losing focus. Re-engage. in
What is
5,
focus, man?
4,
Re-engage.
3, 2.
Dude, I've noticed, in a bad way, energy drinks are like a drug to me at this point. If I really need to focus when I get home after work, I'll buy an energy drink on the way
Dude,
home.
drink coffee.
I just can't do coffee anymore.
Coffee
It
gives
just
you
upsets
diarrhea.
my stomach. Yeah. It's
Well, it's
It
better
just
than being
makes me like
constipated,
want to
man.
sit on the commode most of the
Listen,
night.
Coffee is good for you. Energy drinks like eat your inner stomach lining, and
And so does coffee.
no, it doesn't.
some
Coffee
energy,
is good
some
for you.
energy drinks are the same as coffee.
Well, it depends on
just
what it is.
caffeine.
I mean, if we're talking Monsters, I know a guy that drinks those every day, and he's got like ulcers and all this crap in
Well,
his
that's
Yeah.
because he probably drank and ate something like chips and hot sauce.
Yeah, but it's sugar, caffeine, and like chemicals that it's just like coffee
Yeah.
is a bean
Yeah,
I would stay with
and water.
all of those like the energy blends is what does you in on those. But there are
Yeah.
some energy drinks that are basically coffee. It's just
What about
caffeine.
Bang?
And
What do you think about that?
I don't know anything about Bang.
5-hour energy?
I love 5-hour energy, dude.
Those are
Okay.
bad for you, right?
Yeah, but it's just great that you can just
Red Bull?
turn it up and chug it within 2 seconds, and then it's almost a placebo effect where you're like, oh, I'm freaking energized.
But I hate that feeling of being jittery, and that like energy drinks do that for me. Whereas
Yeah.
coffee, I'm like kind of mellow.
That's
in a-
but
in
that's
an
why I
energetic
don't
way.
like coffee, is because I think I've psychologically told my brain that when I drink coffee, it's time to relax.
Yeah.
Because I'll drink coffee at night, and because the caffeine in the coffee doesn't seem to affect me, I'll just kind of chill out. But like if I'm trying to like focus and get work done, and I drink an energy drink, I just like feel like I'm on top of things.
Yeah, I see that. I have
But-
drunken coffee before and been so mad because I'm like, why do I feel exhausted? And I'm like, I had a full night's sleep and everything.
It's something too about hot drinks. I think maybe like a cold coffee would be better for me in the afternoons because
That's a good
hot
thought.
drinks make me relaxed.
Well, when
good
you
thought.
drink cold stuff, doesn't it like affect, like it makes your organs like, oh crap, it's getting cold down here. We gotta focus on this. And then they,
I don't know.
I don't know, something
So-
with like cold stuff versus hot stuff. It's
I'm-
like better.
I'm gonna take a note that I need to start drinking iced coffee because I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Also trying to tie it back into our
Well,
topic.
I'll tell you
Drinking
something.
cold water keeps
I'll tell you something
awake
that's
more.
better than any drink. Take a cold shower.
Oof.
Talking about being cold, dude. I used to take. I did this challenge where for like 2 weeks I took cold showers in the mornings. Holy crap, that made me feel incredible.
Yeah, you told me
What?
about that, and I tried it, and I did it for a day, but then I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, it's also a self-discipline thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of self-discipline things in life,
I could just see Clayton like, just
a lot of self-discipline things like we can justify not doing them.
Yeah.
But the only justification for not taking a cold shower is that you're just you're being a wiener.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean-
it's like you get mad at yourself. Like I just took a hot shower because it's all about comfort.
But then you rationalize with yourself, and you're like, the
But I
only
wanna be
person that
comfortable.
knows I would be a wiener would be myself, and I can accept that fact. You
No,
know?
but that's the thing. You've gotta hold yourself to some standards.
Yeah, I guess so.
But no, like I'm not even kidding. Everybody should do that. Take like a 2-week challenge of taking cold showers. It'll
Yeah.
change your life. I mean, I have a buddy who did it. He did it for like months.
That's
The
intense.
only person that knows you're is you.
That should be the
I'm okay with that.
the tagline of this episode. It has nothing to do with note taking though.
You're a
I
wiener.
just thought it was like, and I'm okay with it.
But I mean, something about taking a cold shower. It literally, I was focused like for a whole 8 hours after taking a cold shower. I was like, my body was just in hyperdrive.
It's because you put your body in a shock drive. That's what you
Yeah,
just
dude.
shocked it awake.
And after a couple of days, you actually kind of get used to it, because you forget how it is to take a nice warm shower. It's like your brain forgets about that, and you're just like, all right, time to go take a shower where I'm stabbing myself with knives constantly. It just, you get used to the pain.
Yeah.
You get used to the pain. Jesus. You sound like one of those Damascusists or something.
Masochist.
Damascus.
But this is, I mean, it's like even with like running a mile. I hate running, but
Yeah.
just purposefully putting yourself in situations that are uncomfortable is really good for self-discipline.
Keeps you awake too.
And the easiest way to do that is take a cold shower. It's way easier to take a cold shower than it is to go on a 2-mile run.
But see, that's a lot harder discipline than going to work out, because when you work out, there's visible results that people can see, and there's like an outcome. But with that, it's more like internal stuff, getting more discipline.
You can realize that you feel better, and then
Yeah.
there are some health benefits to taking cold showers. There's like weight loss benefits and like cardiovascular benefits and stuff like that you can't really notice them, but they are a thing.
Yeah.
Dude, how do we
Cool.
get on these things?
I don't know, man. I mean, we could walk ourselves
Note
through it if we
taking.
listen to the episode again. This is a conversation,
It is.
and that's good.
Conversation.
And I think we really brought up a lot of good points about notes, personally, because to me it opened my eyes. Like I said, I think of note taking a lot differently now, and I'm excited to, like, this has kind of reinvigorated me, makes me want to do a journal, but this time be a little more reasonable with
Yeah.
myself. And because instead of saying, Sid, you have to fill this page out, just be like, write down what you need to write down. Take 10 seconds at the end of your day.
So literally just Google the best note-taking methods. Go read a couple articles. This is what I'm going to say. It's like, go read some of these things and pick one of these note-taking methods and stick with it.
Yeah.
Get really good at it and build it into your life. Not just with school. Build it into, like, planning your day. Building it into, like, when you have meetings at work and stuff like that. Because it'll organize your life drastically, I think.
Agreed.
And then we have Hunter, who has heard nothing we've been saying.
No, sorry, I was
you-
gonna act like I wasn't
no, you
paying
just-
attention.
I just imagine that you've zoned out for the past hour, and your subconscious has been talking to us instead of your actual
What?
consciousness.
Man, he's been talking.
No, his subconscious has been
Subconscious.
talking.
Oh.
In reality, my brain is actually on.
You're
off mode.
actually plugged into your phone just listening to some tunes.
Yes.
Not
It's like, oh, you thought that was my chord? It's like right here. It's like,
yeah.
and you just pull out the real chord, and this is just.
Dude, we
Tape
should try to
behind
have a
here.
conversation one day where we all put on headphones and
That's a
we're
great idea.
listening to different things where we can't hear each other.
Yeah.
That
I
would
feel like
be
that'd be
so
really
cool.
hard for people to listen to, because we would sound completely disjointed, and they wouldn't experience our problems.
I
They'd
don't
just be like,
care.
what
Or
are these guys
actually,
are
if
I
you
just think
think
that'd be
about
a
it,
funny idea.
It would it would make your focus more. Because if you were playing like loud music in your headphones, you're like, what did he say?
But the whole point is to not hear what they said.
Well, how much time do we have left? Because we could try it
So
for
like
the last 5
we'll
minutes.
say the topic, like we would have the topic, so we'd all have to try to, I don't know.
Do we want to do it now? Because we have our phones.
No, I think we need to coordinate and think
Yeah.
about
Okay.
this. I
But
think
yeah,
we should do
what
it
I was
though.
gonna say is like, definitely, dude. I like the whole journal thing because like I'm done with note taking pretty much when it comes to like charts and graphs, notes taking. But when it comes to like little notes here and there to remind me of things in like a schedule, that's what the note.
But I think you
taking
gotta.
is.
I think you still gotta be prepared because you might have a job one day where
Well, yeah. I mean, you know,
have
if it's
to
not like in a
rekindle
job,
your note taking.
I'm talking like
abilities.
if it's like not required of you. If this is like outside your job,
Yeah.
And definitely do like a schedule.
But
note
even
taking.
like, even jobs that you would think you'd never need to take notes, like if you're learning something new, maybe not take notes in the moment, but go back and write a little summary of what you learned.
You know
Because
what?
you're always learning new things
Where's
at your
my
job.
notes? I
Yeah.
had notes with me. I left them in the truck. Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm trying to. Wow, that was loud. I'm trying to say that like my way of taking notes was a lot like it was extraneous. But what I'm trying to
What
say
do you mean
now
by?
is like
What do you
like
mean
full
by?
page notes.
Oh,
But
see,
I
was
what I'm
I was
talking
like
about,
opposite of that.
yeah. See, what I'm talking about now is like a couple sentences, and then but when it comes to journals, like that's what I was going to get into. Is like definitely, I think I might do journals too, like just so I could see like where I'm at head wise, and like my thing is like all about seeing like how a person like you are like how you feel like in a term of a month, in those 3 weeks, if you wrote down every day in your journal, like you could if you stuck to it religiously and actually said what you meant and like said how you felt, you could study yourself for that month, and you
Yeah.
like realize like, okay, if there's problems like I'm having or something.
I've seen some people have mood trackers where
Yeah, mood. That's what I'm getting to, is emotions.
they have
and
like
moods.
happy, sad, angry, all these emotions, and then each day, like 4 points in the day, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., they'll write, here's what my emotion was. And it's really cool actually to go back and look at the previous month of like, when was I happy? When was I sad? What was affecting that?
Yeah.
My sister did something similar to that. So it was, I think it was either a month or a year, but every day was a block,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a scale of like 5 colors,
Yeah.
and she would color it in like red is like upset, or
Yeah.
like yellow is happy,
Yeah, and that's so
and then
easy to do.
you can look at it at the end and see like kind of get a visual
Yeah.
idea.
And like the reason I say that is because like here lately I just been getting up like really like in a terrible mood, like just like
You've always
hating
gotten
my
up in a
life.
trouble. I've never known you to wake up and be in a good mood.
Yeah, and then like later on the day I'm just like in midday-ish I'm just like, yeah, life, okay. And at the afternoon I'm like, all right, here I am. Let's
Yeah.
rock you like a
I'm
hurricane.
so the opposite of that.
I am
I wake
too,
up and I'm
man.
feeling good, and then end of the day I'm like, I just want to lay in
When
bed and
4
watch
p.m.
YouTube.
come, that's why I'm so bad at schoolwork, is because I work all day and I need to do schoolwork after I get off of work, but I'm dead at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like I've worked 8 hours a day. I'm ready to
Yeah.
literally take a nap
Same.
or something.
Same.
And now I have no time to change my habits because I have 9 days of school left. So
And then it's over. Good riddance.
Also emotional, like how you are with other people. Like with you guys, my emotions
You're
are,
so abusive to us.
yeah, I freaking hate you.
No, you're not.
No, I have fun with you guys.
it's like my graph says every day when I meet with you guys, I get super angry for about 4 hours.
And
No,
you're-
just-
why are we still doing
I'm
this?
and I'm really mellow every other day and every other part of the
Like
day.
it's just like around us, you're like one type of like emotion, and then the rest you're like a normal person. But we see you as like an angry, not really, but like this is all in the joke part. We see you as
This is all a joke.
no,
you
like
just gave it away,
like
man.
in the joke of what we're talking about. We see you as an angry, bitter person, and we're just like, oh man, Clayton, that douchebag, you know, like. But like outside of that, he's like a super nice person, and then you go talk to somebody else about it, and he's like, no, he's a nice person. Why are you talking about
What's
him?
the point of this though?
I don't know. I was just
Hunter's gonna be the type of dad who starts telling a joke to his kids, and he's like, "This is a joke. Remember, I'm telling
Yeah.
you a joke."
Yeah.
no, it's because I keep going with it. I just want to keep going with the joke.
But you have to first tell people you're telling a joke so they don't think you're weird.
No. When I'm like,
Listen, I do that too.
well, I'm
man.
like 3/4 of the like not when I'm done with the joke, but I keep going with it. That's when I'm like, okay, this is still in the joke part, just so you know. Like I don't know.
Well, sometimes my humor is like being super harsh, because I just think it's funny to like somebody I love so much, like Erica, just being like mean to her, like, you know. But then I'm just like, I'm just kidding, and
But sometimes that
Yeah,
does
but
not
you
go over
can't
very
you can't
well.
do that. All right.
but
First of
she's
all,
gotten used to it. But I don't do it a lot. I mean, because
but, like,
that wouldn't be healthy.
here's what I'm
but-
saying is like, people like you can't like. I feel like
Oh, can I give an example real quick? It just hit me.
yeah.
Like,
Go ahead.
Like I'd be like, babe, go make me something to eat right now.
Right
just
now.
straight faced, and then I'll be
And
like,
then
I
you're
don't
"Get the
actually.
hell up right now."
I really don't want her to do it, and we just laugh about it. Like,
Oh, I
but
thought you were gonna be like, get
No.
the hell up and get me a drink.
no, it ends right there. Like,
okay. Good.
but then I just say, I'm just kidding.
I go so far that I'm actually like really angry about it. And
Yeah.
most of the time,
So that's not a joke.
It's
no,
real.
no, it's a joke.
See,
But
we
most-
don't know.
but most of the
man.
time-
we don't know.
Most of the time, when I take it further, she doesn't understand the sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just on the surface level, she's like, "Oh yeah, you're funny," and then I just keep going with it.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you alone control how far you go with it.
No,
it's
I'm not
up
in
the
control
other
of myself,
person.
man.
It's the other person that like is in control of receiving it.
When it comes to sarcasm, I'm not in control.
oh god,
I've
it just,
noticed
it just
that.
comes out of me without my knowledge.
Does that just mean that that's how you're feeling? I mean,
I don't know.
maybe it's not sarcasm.
Maybe I need to
And
go to
you're
a
like-
psychiatrist.
No, you don't.
dude,
Well, I can't say you don't, but you seem fine to me.
that's another thing. Like, think about that. Are we really in control of what we're saying?
Don't bring that up. Yes, we're in control of what we're saying. Because I've never been sarcastic to anybody at my job.
But
I
honestly,
can definitely rein it in.
but
That's a
think
good
about
point.
it. I never plan on what I'm going to say at the podcast, but all of a sudden, I always have something to say.
That's the point of a conversation, though.
Me and Sid plan a little bit, and you just sit there and listen until you figure out something to say.
No, I'm not gonna take that because I really didn't plan it all this week.
But at least we were conscious of what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just
Hunter
admit it.
literally didn't even know what we were talking
all-
about.
Oh yeah. True. I think we all like improvise.
Yeah, but that's what a conversation is, and that's
Yeah.
what we promote here.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
That's why we say it every week.
A place for good conversation.
Good conversation.
That's what our website is. That's what it says on the top.
I like
A
that.
place for good conversation.
Do we have a comment section?
I don't think yeah, I think you can comment on the blog posts.
Everybody, you have so many ways to comment and interact with
Our-
us that
our-
you have no excuse to not.
Just if you go to our website, don't click on our about page yet,
okay.
because it says it doesn't have any content
Okay.
and it looks terrible. But yeah, comment. Tell us how you take notes. Do you still take notes? How do you take notes? What methods do you use?
Take your school notes in our comment section. It doesn't even have to be relevant.
yeah. Just write your whole.
Yeah.
Just
then
like
you
go to
can-
a lecture and write your notes in the comments.
Yeah, and then you come back and reference it. It'll still be there. We'll upvote it. We'll even star it so it'll be at the top
Yeah.
because there's so many competing comments to be beat out.
Yeah. If you want to be at the top, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, we need a secret phrase every week for somebody to be at the top, so we can know they listened to the end of
How
the
about
episode.
just comment at all? And
No,
you're there.
no. We need a secret phrase. Like this week, if you include the word pineapples in your comment,
Right.
Dude, pineapples.
we will.
What is that from?
What?
That's a secret word.
It's just a word, man.
No. That's from something deep in our childhood.
SpongeBob.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's
I don't,
gotta be.
I don't
Dude,
think,
Okay,
dude.
This is a super big tangent.
Young Life, pineapples. Where'd it come from?
there's nothing to do with Young Life and
Dude.
pineapples.
We said we had a safe word or pineapples or something.
safe
no,
That's I don't
not a
think
safe
we had
word. No, my bad. What do you call it? Not a safe word, but like a.
I think
That's what it was. Oh. Do you remember when we were?
this is too
Do you
much.
remember when we were having like speech and or not speech, group meetings in Young Life?
yeah.
Remember when CT would be like, pineapples? Was it pineapples?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He
at
would
all.
say pineapples and everyone had to get super serious and we would start talking about some stuff.
No, that was
we
not a
couldn't-
thing.
Or was it marshmallows?
We didn't have a word.
Maybe I'm imagining things. But I hope if CT listens to this,
I said the word pineapples, and you literally freaked out.
It's because it was like a code word that reactivated
I think
my
somebody
mind.
hypnotized you one day, and you made your pineapples your trigger word.
Probably, yeah.
All right, we need
I just
to
remember
to
something like
cut
that,
this
man.
off. So yeah, if you include the word pineapples in your comment, we will make sure that you're the top ranked comment. That being said, you will probably be the only comment, and thank you for that.
Pineapples.
Yeah, go follow us on YouTube. Go to our website, check it out. Go follow us on Instagram. Go follow us on Twitter. Follow us on this podcast. Just do the things that you do on the internet, because
And
you're an
you need to
adult. You know what to do.
You need to be taking notes right now. All these Instagram.
Yeah, if you didn't take notes during this
Facebook.
podcast, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Listening to this podcast.
Yeah, congratulations.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That should be
Why
our
you-
sign off
Don't
every
break
week.
my pencil.
That should be our sign off every week.
You're
welcome
That's
for
so
the
rude.
You're welcome for the
Welcome.
content. All right. We'll talk at you guys next week.
Take it easy. Godspeed.
And
And
good conversations.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Young Adult's Guide to Planet Earth. We hope you enjoyed the conversation.
If you want to join the conversation, make sure to join us on Twitter at Young Adult Guide and Instagram at Young Adults Guide.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified. Like, comment, and join the conversation.
Talk to you next week.